Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. He was an actor and a model.
He even had a record deal.
But
I've been kicked out of my parents' house at least 50 times.
look at their 35-year-old son now.
Brandon loves to wear superhero costumes.
To prevent crime and to fight coyotes in Griffith Park.
For 17 years, he's been running around the backyard in a Batman suit.
I'm not running around in the Batman suit, Dr. Phil. You guys are getting it so wrong. I'm running around in a tactical suit that I've created. I go on what I call night missions. Now, I was stuck 20 feet in the air, so I figured, what would Batman do?
Well, that's just stupid. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I'm trying to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Cindy and Jim say they were once proud of their son Brandon for pursuing his Hollywood dream of making it big. Brandon was acting, modeling, and even had a record deal.
I know you know me. Cause I be doing my thing. In my city, I'm a king. Boy, you know my name. You know me.
But they say old Brandon is long gone, and in his place is a mooching 35-year-old menace who still lives at home, has caused $15,000 in damage to the property, is entitled, lazy, and refuses to get a job. But that's not all. They say he will dress up like his favorite superheroes, has a lightsaber, battles and goes on nightly Batman vigilante missions. Now, according to Jim and Cindy, Brandon also steals toys from his 5-year-old brother. He paints them and even has taken on a rapper persona named Caesar Caprice. Now, Cindy and Jim say living with Caesar Caprice, a.k.a. Brandon, has become absolutely unbearable, and they are at their wits' end.
My son Brandon is a moocher. He is lazy, refuses to get a job.
When Brandon tells me he's lost a job, my first reaction is, what a shock.
Brandon acts like a child. Brandon loves to wear superhero costumes. He'll be out in the backyard running around with lightsabers and swords, and he'll be jumping off the decking and chairs and tables. And it's like so weird.
A couple weeks ago, I heard a noise downstairs. I thought it was the prowler. And as I get to about right here, I notice a body flying off this ledge down onto the floor like a ninja. I go to confront him and choke him, and I hear, "Dad, it's me, it's Brandon."
And I said, Brandon, what are you doing? He said, I'm just down here hiding. Somebody could have gotten hurt really bad.
Brandon has destroyed our house. Brandon has spray painted everything from the toilet seat to the light switches.
Brandon has ruined our backyard. He's trashed several cars, and he's put holes in our walls.
Brandon never picks up after himself. He'll take bites of sandwiches, just leave the sandwich for someone else to pick up. In his room, there'll be 6 bowls of cereal with mold growing out of it. It's disgusting.
Brandon and Cindy get into very heated arguments, and right in the middle of their argument, Brandon will do a Michael Jackson pirouette and put his hand up in the air.
Brandon has so many toys. He has everything from the little figurines to remote control cars and boats. These toys Brandon has are something that children should play with, not something a 35-year-old should have. I've kicked Brandon out many times, and I swore I would never, ever take him back again.
I told another family member if Brandon wasn't my son, I'd have nothing to do with him.
Now I feel like I don't love him anymore. I absolutely can't stand him, and I hate him.
Okay, so what the hell? What's going on?
My 35-year-old son, Brandon, is completely out of control.
It's exhausting living with him. And it wasn't always like that. There was little bits of it.
All right, you say that he ruined your expensive backyard by spray painting it.
Yes.
What do you mean he spray painted the backyard?
He spray paints everything. Nothing is safe. When he props stuff up to paint, it gets all over our pool decking, our retaining walls, our shed, any tables, anything that's back there. What he's spray painting is anything.
He spray painted the toilet?
The
Yes,
toilet seat. Like, we were so shocked to walk in and see. And he thought it looked good. He thought we should appreciate that he did that.
You say he crouches on a ledge and hides and then jumps out at you in some kind of a...
Like he's in the role, acting a part. And he'll lay and wait for hours because he doesn't know when we're going to come out of the room. This is 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So he doesn't know. He'll be crouched behind the stairs, or we have a lot of ledges throughout our house. Some's like 1 story high. And that's how he's dressed.
He'll wait for like 2 or 3 hours. So he's committed to this.
Oh, yeah, for his little 5-year-old brother to come and get scared, or me, or anybody.
Okay, now what's his payoff when he jumps out and scares the bejeebers out of you? Do you squeal, scream?
Oh, yeah, we're going to get a
And
snack.
what does he do when you do?
He laughs and says, aha, he stays in the role, whatever he's playing.
Does he laugh and run off?
No, he laughs and expects us to admire, what he's done and the
Okay,
outfit.
that's important. I'm trying to figure out.
Okay,
Listen,
yeah.
people don't do things in pattern without a payoff.
He craves attention. He just does things that you wouldn't think is rational.
So you think the payoff is attention?
I do.
This is attention-getting behavior.
I think he's just doing what he loves, what he's done since he was a child.
So you think he would do it if he lived alone?
He did do it when he lived alone.
He would.
Okay.
He would. He would.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out here. I'm asking these questions.
There's some park.
Griffith Park.
He dressed up in full gear, went out one night, and he got stuck. They shut the gates. He couldn't get out. He was stuck there. No cell phone battery, nothing. I mean, he just does this for his own enjoyment.
He got dressed up to prevent crime and to fight coyotes in Griffith Park.
Criminal coyotes or crime and coyotes?
He said, when I go out there, Dad, there's a lot of crime in this park. He says, so I'm there as a protector, but I also have to be safe because I've noticed coyotes.
The other thing I want to introduce right here is you don't reward bad behavior. You just don't reward bad behavior.
I actually understand that. I'm not sure Jim does.
Jim meet bus, she just threw you under the bus.
Right. Because, Dr. Phil, I did draw the line in the sand, like when he was 20, when he was 22.
Well, you're throwing him under the bus. What is he doing that he doesn't understand? You don't reward bad behavior.
He slips him money that I don't know about and buying him cars, and it's undoing all my hard work and the fights I have to go through with him to get him there.
All right, now answer this question. For 17 years, he's been running around the backyard in a Batman suit.
Right.
Yes.
And you haven't held him accountable for that. He hasn't had a job that's lasted more than a month.
I think there's something seriously wrong. I don't think it's just...
That may be. And if he does have a mental illness, then I want to try to figure that out, figure out what it is, and we'll figure out what to do.
Not to repeat the same mistakes I have made throughout his life, we sat down with him and said, if you want to come back, these are the rules this time, A, B, C, and D, and the first time you break one of these rules, you're back on the streets again.
Okay. Has he broken it?
No.
Yes.
We actually made a little tape about your 4 rules. Let's take a look at it.
Okay. To avoid a lot of the problems that I have with Brandon, I decided to make rules. Rule number 1, you cannot spray paint or paint anything of any sort at my house. 0 tolerance for any paint. The second rule is you cannot go in anyone's room. Rule number 3, do not take anyone's things. And rule number 4 is don't eat anyone else's food. They're rules that normally you wouldn't have to mention to anybody. It's just common decency and respect. But for whatever reason, he struggles to follow rules.
He's broken 3 out of 4 of those.
No, he's broken 4 out of 4.
4 out of 4. And you say none. You said he hasn't broken any rules. She says 4 out of 4.
I didn't see the spray paint. But he did break into our room. Yes, he broke one.
So why did you say no when I said, has he broken any rules?
We have no proof.
It was a rainy day when he broke in our room, so there's footprints on the pillowcase and on sheets.
Unless you were walking on the bed, it was
The
him.
footprints were not on the bed. The footprints were on the sheets that were laying next to the bed.
Well-
I could have easily walked on them. They were flip-flops. He doesn't wear flip-flops.
Okay,
I do.
Do you see?
Are you going to make excuses for him?
Nope.
I'm saying.
No, I said
seriously, because I
No, I want
want to get him help.
I do too.
Which I want to create change. And
Right.
if you're going to make excuses for him, it's better off that you not be involved in this.
No, I'm there to save my son.
And I'm
Okay.
happy to do it myself with you.
You got to stand firm, okay? That's all I'm saying. Just stand firm. All right, Jim and Cindy say they're proud of their son's rapping skills, but Brandon has taken his Caesar Caprice persona too far, and they want Caesar gone. We'll talk about that next.
I'm a dancer, a choreographer, a composer, music writer. Go! My parents don't understand how my mind works. It overpowers me. It's hard being persecuted for what you can't help.
And later,
We gotta be honest. This
Yes,
is
we
not
do.
happening.
Yeah.
What they're complaining about, that they're saying has been going on and on and on, is all fairly new.
No, it's
Everything-
not.
It's new. It sucks.
well, we've been talking to Cindy and Jim, who say their 35-year-old son, Brandon, refuses to grow up. They say Brandon's been fired from almost every job, sleeps all day, spray paints the house, steals toys from his little brother, and creates and wears superhero costumes for his alter egos. But Brandon says his mind is powerful, and he's just simply misunderstood, much like Michael Jackson was.
One of my pastimes is lightsaber fighting. I'm a one-man band. Playing an assassin. I'm a dancer, a choreographer, a composer, a music writer, lyric writer. I'm an actor, an artist, a director, a producer, a painter, athlete, model, rapper, singer, writer, costume designer, poet, toy maker, and I'm definitely a detective. I do feel misunderstood. I feel a lot like Michael Jackson or Jim Carrey. Go! Sometimes when I'm in the backyard, it's a place where I'm free to not be judged by anybody. If I want to have a lightsaber fight at night, do it. It looks cool. Living with my parents at 35, not cool. My parents don't understand how my mind works. It's super uber creative and it overpowers me. The main conflict I have with my mother, she has ways of thinking that she thinks to be right, and I have my ways. It's hard being persecuted for what you can't help.
Had you just been respectful, you wouldn't have got kicked out. I don't understand your thinking and your logic.
Go by the seat of my pants. I've been kicked out of my parents' house at least 50 times. I want them to understand that I have to create. I customize my entire life. There's barely anything that's named brand, it's my brand. I have to be artistic. I'm consistently overanalyzing things and thinking of ideas. Sometimes I am selfish. I do what I want to do when I want to do it. It's a revolving door of chaos. I don't feel like I get any peace. So many times I just want to be left alone.
Well, Brandon says his costumes protect him from the world. In fact, he says it was his suit that saved his life while he was out on one of his nightly Batman vigilante missions.
When it looks so unnatural to the outside person, like to our neighbors right now, it looks like a grown man playing with toys in his backyard, but that is not what's going on here. Step into my realm. It may get a little crazy. When I put on some of the customized costumes, my tactical suits, my armor, I become that character. I take it out to the field to test. I go on what I call night missions. They call me Fox. And I'm having the time of my life. I'm jumping off rocks. I get to this water tower. Got a grapple hook up there. I stood up there and time went by. Now I'm going down. So what would Batman do? Figured, oh, I'll just attempt to jump right down. I am Dog Vicious. Can I see what moves? You know what I mean? This particular prototype is the evolution of one of the characters' worst nightmares. Either way, it's always fun to me.
All right, Brandon, have you been watching the show up till now?
I like it. What I want to get perfectly clear to everybody that's watching this is that no, I know what's reality and fantasy. I don't choose to dress like Batman. What's going on is I don't have characters to play the film or the roles that I'm creating in my head, and so virtually these things are happening. I don't like to go to Griffith Park just to jump around because I feel like you know, I need to wear my my pajamas and have a party. That's not what's going on here. I'm creating alternate universes or scenarios that's going on for the films that I have in my head and the ideas I have in my head, and these are a way for me to execute them.
Here's a list of some of your behaviors. You wear costumes to protect yourself from the world. You go on Batman vigilante missions. You set up surveillance cameras to scare your parents at night. You have alter egos. You created a rapper persona, Caesar Caprice. You compare yourself to Eminem, Tupac, and Kanye West. You get fired because everyone is stupid. You sleep all day, sometimes 20 hours straight. You spray paint things all over the house and the yard. You play with boats in the pool at night while wearing costumes. You play with lightsabers at night and talk to yourself. You steal money. You steal toys. You make toy lists for Christmas and birthdays. You have mood swings. You're angry, irrational, have a bad attitude, and won't apologize. You get kicked out of friends and families' homes. You steal and ask for loans, and you never repay them.
Okay, let's knock these one by one. I don't wear costumes to protect myself from the world. Sometimes I keep myself in my room to protect the world from me. Here in Los Angeles, people understand it. In the rest of the United States, where things are more conservative, I'm not accepted. I don't try to be a vigilante and go protect people like Batman whatsoever. I make these suits and go on night missions to test if the suits were real. I don't try to go defend anybody. I'm not trying to stop crime.
Real how? You test if they're real.
Test them in real field tests. You know, I went on a night mission at Griffith Park. I was attacked by a coyote. I also fell 30 feet straight onto my spine and didn't break my back.
So doesn't that make you wonder what someone's thinking?
How did you fall 30 feet?
I went to Griffith Park late at night, and I seen a water tower, and I wanted to see if I was agile enough to get to the top of that by climbing. As I was coming down, there was a thing that was not allowing me to really reach the bottom thing, so I could just dangle and drop. So I figured, okay, what would Batman do?
So you're dangling 20 feet in the air, and you thought, what would Batman do?
No, I wasn't dangling. I was stuck 20 feet in the air, and I had to get down some way, because the way I got up was I ran up.
That's just stupid. Coming up, Brandon says he's been rapping since he was 13, has written 2,000 songs that he knows are hits, and can spit rhymes for 3 hours straight, and is on the same level as Kanye West, Eminem, and Tupac. We'll talk about that and more when we come back.
When I was 21 and growing up in Vegas was half a car that was sleek, and I wanted to dress a certain way, and that was when Caesar Caprice was born.
I'll be in the middle of arguing with him, screaming to the top of my lungs, and he'll just start rapping.
Like a soap on a rope.
Now if you see some models in the window popping bottles in a limo, single guy up in the middle there.
Caesar Caprice, an alias, an alter ego. He doesn't have to wear masks so much. As cool growing up, what I wanted to be when I was 21 and growing up in Vegas was have a car that was sleek, and I wanted to dress a certain way, and that was when Caesar Caprice was born.
Brandon raps everywhere. He'll bust out a rap anywhere you are.
Like a soap on a rope, boy, I'm hard to touch. You better watch out when my foot's on the gas, you might rush. Get your head bust while I go and pump my thing.
I'll be in the middle of arguing with him, screaming to the top of my lungs, and he'll just somehow turn a rap, just start rapping.
I mean, I'm looking at my mom, and she just wants to gossip for real. And I'm just trying to be over here like, let me paint with some light. It's ill.
Brandon sabotaged his rap career. Brandon's contract was terminated due to the fact that he didn't live up to his end of the agreement, which was just to write songs and record full-time. But daily, he just got sidetracked with other things.
I know. I'm on the level of many people I admire. I'm on the level with Kanye, with M, with all the greats.
You know me.
Okay, so you actually had a record deal.
Yes, I did.
And That didn't last long.
Yeah, he promised, he goes, 3 weeks, 3 months, I'm going to have this whole album done, and you're all going to see, and Mom, when I get to the Grammys, I'm going to blast you for all the arguments and all the things you put me through. And the rapper thing, I did support it when he was younger, but now he's 35. He goes in for just a regular laborer type job, and he wants to be interviewed for management, things that he doesn't have experience or training for. The money he gets that he says claims is from jobs is because he'll say, oh, I'm so starving, so his dad will slip him $20. He'll spend $5 on food and $15 on toys and paint.
How did you get fired at orientation? You got fired one time at orientation.
Where was this at?
You tell me.
You tell me.
It wasn't just one time. It was like several times.
These are all fabricated lies.
No, you told us about this.
The only place that I really show poise and that I'm not and have super anxiety is on set. I can talk to the DP and say, I want you to push in right here. I can talk to my other actors. Then I can immediately jump into the other side and throw myself into the scene in 30 seconds.
But answer this. Why should somebody give you that job when someone else has worked themselves up through the ranks, earned credibility, gotten experience, demonstrated that they have the skill and ability? Why should somebody let you just walk in off the street and start telling a DP when to push in or not push in or whatever? Why should somebody do that? Why should they take something where they might be spending $50 million on a movie and let some guy that can't wake up in the morning show up and start telling somebody how to do something?
If that's what they're going to judge me by, that I can't wake up in the morning, not all the talents, the ways that I communicate.
How do they know you have talent? What if you show me something?
How do I get there, Dr.
Well,
Phil?
show me something. Show me something you've accomplished.
How do I get there? I mean,
You wake up in the morning. You want to start at the top.
I don't want to start at the top, but I really, at the same time, I've went through a whole process of struggle to get there, and it just hasn't happened for me. There's
What's
many
your ownership in that?
I think that there's a lot of things that I do need help with.
What?
I don't know how to control my mind. It's creative. I don't know how to control my sleep patterns. I don't know how to fix a lot of things that I believe are broken inside of me.
Like what?
My mentality is not fully there. I believe that all the creativity and the talent to do these things, to rather be an actor or to create suits for a motion picture or even just be a vital person working on set. I think that I do have everything that it takes to that. I just can't control it and contain it.
The honest to God truth is he is borderline creative genius. He could win a Grammy. He could win an acting award. But I tell him, you're never going to do it sleeping 20 hours in your room. I just have never gotten through to him to say, if you want those things, you have to go work hard to get it. Because you are talented, but what good is it if the only people that know it are the people that live with you and never get to experience it? So if you really want those things, you've got to get right.
The other spectrum of this mania that I go through is a severe depression where I'm not doing any of that creative stuff. I'm in my room stuck in there and stuck to all of these thoughts and all of these creations and miserable. And I also, just yesterday they wanted me to create something for the show and I've put to the test and I rage. I want to go, I was like, is this what you want? I go through another spectrum where I was like, I'll paint this hotel room if you'd like. I'll customize this whole thing. It gets to a part where I want to defend myself and there's a monster dwelling inside her.
Brandon's sister Harmony says she's not buying Brandon's poor me act. She says he's a manipulator who sees it as a challenge to live off others. She also blames their parents for enabling his behavior. Going to meet her when we come back.
My parents enable my brother and his lifestyle and behavior. I wish my father would put his foot down, tell him to go get a job, or we will not pay for your food anymore.
Closed captioning provided by...
It's so weird to see your 5-year-old and your 35-year-old getting in disputes over what game they're going to play. or somebody took somebody's toy. Brandon gets so mad, he will stomp off and tell his brother, I'm never going to play with you again, and go in his room and slam the door. He says, you're just a jerk, you're not even grateful, nobody would want to play with you, nobody's going to be your friend. If Trist comes home with a toy, Brandon's like, well, how come he got a toy and I didn't get a toy?
Well, Brandon's sister Harmony says she used to be proud to be Brandon's sister, but now she says she's embarrassed to tell people what he's become. She says she's done listening to Brandon's excuses because he's a manipulator who claims he's found God and will change his behavior whenever he needs help.
I'm sick of my brother Brandon living with my parents over and over again at his age. At one point, I actually told him to kick him out, put him on the streets. My parents enable my brother and his lifestyle and behavior. I wish my father would show more tough love on my brother. I wish he would just put his foot down, tell him to go get a job, or we will not pay for your food anymore. You cannot stay in our home rent-free. Brandon promises that he'll change, but he never does. One time, I loaned him about $2,000. He did not pay me back. I had to hound him. I had to chase my money, and week after week, he had an excuse. I don't care if I loan you 5 cents. That is my 5 cents I'm loaning you that you told me you would pay me back. I got Brandon a job as a stagehand on the Chris Angel Magic Tour that I was a part of. After I got Brandon a job, he started having trouble with it. He was found sleeping on the job. He made excuses like he couldn't do heavy lifting. And the stage manager approached me and he said, I'm so sorry, but I had to let him go. He said that Brandon had flipped out on our producer. My brother getting fired ruined my name. He makes excuses all the time. Go! It's embarrassing to tell people what my brother's become. I just want my brother back.
Harmony, thanks for being here. So you think he knows what he's doing? You say he's manipulated the family for years. Do you think this is a devious where he's saying, I'm going to figure a way to get a free ride here?
I think he is smart enough to manipulate, and I think he does that often. I think sometimes it's a game for him to just see how long he can go with just borrowing money off of people and not needing to have a job.
Okay, but you heard me say people do things they get a payoff for. You say he fights with his 5-year-old brother over which game to play. You say he does it. He fights with a 5-year-old.
Yes.
Why?
Because Trist has his favorite kinds of games and toys he wants to play with. Brandon has his, and they both are fighting for their way, which I think is normal for Trist. Yes, you do. And you get...
This is like so...
He even tries to dictate what toys I buy Trist for Christmas and his birthday.
If we're gonna go on the show, we got to be honest. This is not happening.
Yeah.
This is not happening. What they're complaining about, that they're saying has been going on and on and on, is all fairly new.
No,
maybe the manipulations and the other things.
It's new. It sucks.
You are ridiculous. You are so hateful and ugly and irritated all the time.
I'm agitated by you.
Normal life things irritate you. I could say, Brandon, you left your clothes in the washer all night. They're stinking. Would you like me to rewash them or put them in the dryer?
Or would you say that?
You're attacking me when I first wake up, and you know I wake up grumpy.
That's not something you would say.
You expect people to tiptoe around you.
They're giving the worst example because it's not.
You can't recognize that taking your clothes and washing them is a favor.
You lose a little credibility when you're running around in Griffith Park at night in a Batman suit. I mean...
And if I was doing that, but I'm not running around in a Batman suit, Dr. Phil. You guys are getting it so wrong.
Okay, well, help me. I'm just an old country boy. Help me figure this out.
I'm running around in a tactical suit that I've created. This is a motocross suit that has...
You're the one that said, what would Batman do?
I said, what would Batman do? But I didn't say, what would Batman wear? I'm not even trying to stop crime.
What do you mean, what would Batman do? There isn't a real Batman. You know that, right?
A lot of people would say, what would Jesus do? And that could be up for argument's sake. But what we're saying is, these are characters I've created for shows that I'm creating.
He is extremely creative, and I think he has so much of it that he needs an outlet. He needs to get it out somehow. He is very brilliant with what he does, and I actually find it fascinating to look at his stuff.
You know what? I don't disagree with that, but I've got a comment about that. It's time to make some sense out of all this, and I'm going to do just that after the break. Closed captioning provided by
I believe Brandon has some sort of mental illness because he doesn't think like other people. He's agitated and he doesn't seem to be able to handle any sort of stress.
I don't know what this is, but it's some sort of a drug thing.
His behavior was so erratic. His dad and I have been thinking, this has got to be drugs.
But then there's this. I think I've heard it called a bong or something.
He's up here, down here, and his moods are like all over the place, and we can't understand it.
I don't know what this is. I think it's called some kind of a bong. Good guess, Mom.
Well, it's a vase.
I don't do drugs. I don't know anything about them, and I don't think anyone should.
I think I have a pretty clear idea of the dynamic that's going on here. I think you two definitely have been enabling him. It means to make something possible, practical or easy for someone to do or be that often perpetuates a problem rather than solve it. And here, when we say something, we're talking about a set of behaviors that are counterproductive for his progress in life.
Right.
Okay, now he calls it creative, you call it immature and unproductive, whatever. But it certainly is not getting him what he wants, and it's not getting what you might want for him or what you might want for him. So it makes something possible, practical, or easy for someone to do or be that perpetuates a problem. Okay? It perpetuates it rather than solves it. Okay? So think about that. Have you done that?
Definitely.
Well, he's got a roof over his head. He's got 3 hots and a cot, man. He's got spray paint and a place to do it. He doesn't have to get a job because he's financed.
I've been in a different kind of environments altogether. Besides this suit, I've been in some real scenarios. And I've been on self-medicating for many years. Everything from bongs to beyond. It sucks, but I'm putting it out there so I can maybe get some help.
You're putting what out there?
I'm putting myself out there, everything.
What is it that I don't know that you think I need to? Tell me now.
The drug abuse, the nights that I couldn't sleep, the pain that I feel in my body, the shame that sometimes that I feel. I don't know if you know all that, because you haven't interviewed me one-on-one to really know. Your staff has, but you don't know me one-on-one. And all the mania that's going on in here. It's not easy.
So you're now going to tell me how to do my job?
I'd like to hear your take on it all.
You need that information for a good assessment.
So you're going to tell me how to do my job?
No, I know that.
No wonder he's doing what he's doing.
On the next episode.
We'll be right back.
I see here hundreds of paints, every sort of color.
If he thinks it would look better, he'll spray paint.
He's painted the light switch covers, the intercom.
He's trying to create out of any inanimate object there is.
How many people paint their computer? I cannot turn a corner without finding something that he's moved, redecorated, painted, destroyed.
You'll wake up in the morning and any of your possessions or my little 5-year-old's toys will have been painted.
Do you have a question for me?
How can I get my son back on the right track?
Okay. Do you have a question?
Is there something wrong with me? Can you help me?
Well, I'll start with yours. Yes, I think there's something wrong with you, and yes, I think I can help you.
That's good.
First off, I think you're very intelligent. I think you're very creative. And I think you are very talented. Do I think there's something wrong with you? Yes, I definitely do. And I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of, but you have to understand, for me, a mental illness or maladjustment has no stigma. It's no different to me than a kidney infection or straining your knee, because it has no stigma to me because it's been my whole life. I think there's a lot going on here. I think developmentally, your development socially and emotionally, for some reason, arrested at an early time. And so you're functioning at a pretty immature level of problem solving and problem recognition and problem solving. And I think you have a flight of ideas. So your ability to focus on something and concentrate on it for a sustained period of time is very difficult for you. I don't think you do that on purpose. I just think it happens. I think you kind of peel off and go different ways. I don't particularly think that's necessarily psychological in nature. I think it's probably neurological in nature. And I think that if we evaluate you neurologically, I think we are going to find parts of your brain that are underactive. I think we're going to find parts of your brain that are overworking. And that is very likely something that can be dealt with, and probably without medication. And I think if somebody would look past the outrageous behavior and look below it and see what is causing it, then I think you could find some answers where all of that behavior could be focused and funneled in a way where you maintain your creativity, but you do it in a way that it actually comes to fruition. Because right now, don't you agree that however creative you might be, however many great ideas you may have, you just don't seem to be able to get any traction?
Absolutely.
Closed captioning provided by... I have a gentleman here that I want to introduce you to that's from your area. This is Dr. Donald Pawson. He is a psychologist and a licensed alcohol and drug counselor. Say hello to Dr. Pawson. Thank you for being here.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You've been listening to the whole thing. You've been hearing everything.
What I'm hearing, and the most profound thing I've heard so far, is Brandon describing the brain energy, his thinking process that is overwhelming even for him, and recognizing that his brain gets going so fast that he can't control it. There's a good scientific evidence that there is a process going on there. We call that brainwave activity. And when one part of the brain starts getting really active and over-aroused, then other areas of the brain, that energy has to come from someplace else. And of course you can't control it because the energy that you need to control it isn't there.
And what that means to you guys is that some of this is involuntary for him.
Yes.
As another part of this that I want us to consider, there's a program called Transitions at Origins. It's a program designed to teach clients life skills to achieve sustained sobriety, everything from meal planning, money management, vocational support, educational sort of things, and more. It's not rehab at a level of detox and that sort of thing. It's that transitions program that says somebody has been unplugged from life and they need to get plugged back in. And I want Dr. Pawson, I want the transitions program from Origins. This is going to involve Dr. Lawless at the P&P Center, which will bring in a lot of the evaluative physicians to look at some of the biochemistry. I've put together a whole team here to, for one time, give this young man every tool he could possibly need to deal with every challenge that's set before him.
Great.
Thank you so much, Dr. Phil.
I am wishing Brandon and his family all the best, and while he may have a whole team helping him, sometimes just one person can make a difference. Now, my wife Robin may be that one person for you. She wants every woman to look and feel her best. That's why she created the Robin McGraw Revelation Luxury Skincare Collection, right?
That's right, and I have to tell you, I created all of these products with some very serious results, but I wanted to give them some really fun names. So the product that we're talking about today is a serum that I call Face It, You Look Amazing, which is a serum that has 4 unique peptides that relax and smooth the skin. It helps diminish visible signs of aging. We all want that, right?
You can order any of all of her skincare collection at RobinMcGrawRevelation.com. And audience, Robin has a surprise for you right under your chairs. If you're going to look, you're going to look amazing because you're all going home with her Face It, You Look Amazing serum. We'll see you next time. RobinMcGrawRevelation.com.